Hello and welcome to the one, the only Gaming Booth Show, episode 11, where the heart of the cards is the most important rule. As always, I'm your host, Mitch, and joining me is Jordan, who is stuck at level 1.
I'm ready to duel.
And Russell, who is max level, crushing low levels with his overwhelming power.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Your heart just wasn't in the cards.
My heart's never in the cards. That's why this week we're visiting Earth 622, a world where every single sport is played with cars. And yes, that includes water sports, curling, and darts. What do you think about this multiverse? We happy to be here?
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds like a novel idea.
It's a very novel idea. I mean, I don't know who thought that up, but it's an incredibly not great idea. But the fact that all these real games to play with sports heavily influence video games. So most games feature cars as like the main character and everything involves a car. So this week we've been chosen by me, as always, to port a game from our universe to theirs.
We're essentially going to the Cars universe.
We are. So I need you to port a game from our universe, whatever that was, using cars. So I want you to pick A, I want you to pick a game, and B, I want you to pick a car that will be the feature/main character of this game. I'll then bring it to the publisher, Bethesda, and tell you what they thought. Russell, what do you want to bring?
I'm going to bring Final Fantasy.
Which one?
And that's a good point. Which one? Let's go Final Fantasy 8 because it's been unrepresented right now.
Yeah, it's not coming. It's not coming out in this future thing we're talking about.
And the car I'm bringing, because it's the most badass car you could possibly have, is the Batmobile. Do the Final Fantasy 8 universe.
Okay, I need to clarify, which Batmobile are we bringing? Because there's a lot of Batmobiles. The Tumbler, the original one.
That's very true. I'm going to go, due to the mobility of its uses, I'm going to bring the Arkham Knight one because of how it can like travel on like a spider-like construction. So I'm bringing Arkham Knight's Batmobile.
Okay, so we got that. So we got Final Fantasy 8 with the Batmobile. You know, that sounds awesome. But anyway, Jordan, what are you bringing for Bethesda?
So I'm bringing in a new, recent addition to our universe, the Spiderman game, where cars in this universe, swing around like crazy.
As explained. So which car? Which car is doing the swinging?
Bringing in the Warthog, sir.
What Warthog?
From Halo. From Halo 1.
Halo's
Specifically
Warthog.
Halo 1, because it's invincible from destruction.
So you're bringing
you can swing that around like a wrecking ball. Tie it to a helicopter, swing it, crash it, have fun.
You are the car, though. The car's swinging. The car is doing all the acrobats.
Then I will not get hurt because I'm super tough.
Yeah, look, fair enough. And I've shown them both a Bethesda car. Sorry, very hard to confuse those two. And
They would be insulted if you didn't call them Bethesda.
they would be. And also, they've chosen to publish your game, which it's called Final Fantasy Legend of the Car in this world because there was no 8. Yeah, so that's been published. Jordan, they're not too thrilled about your idea because the cars swinging around. It's just illogical. It just makes no sense. An RPG with a car, yes, makes perfect sense. But flying around the city, you know, they've chosen not to.
What you need to do is strap a few grappling hooks.
But
to
Jordan,
the front and
do not worry.
Spider-Man.
Someone else has decided to publish your game. Someone else. Devolver Digital. They just picked it up out of the budget thing. But then they were, in this universe, were bought by THQ Nordic. So, congratulations, Jordan. Your games have both been published. So, we'll be back in a moment, leaving Bethesda on their own with Russell's game. And we'll be back to talk about the news. Welcome back to the Gaming Booth Show. So, to get right to it, the recent pre-Tokyo Game Show event called the PlayStation Lineup Tour revealed to us a ton of games. So I'm going to start with a project game because there's a few project games in this list actually. So to start with the biggest project, well, probably the second biggest, it's called Project Awakening. It's done by Cygames. It looks like Monster Hunter a bit, and a bit like a certain other game which has been dropped deep down into the abyss because it's deep down that Capcom game we saw a while back. And Russell, what do you make of this game?
Well, it's that aspect where it's like on paper seeing this without the Cygames logo, was like, is this deep down Resurgence? Like, is this game that
got that
they announced, like, 4 years ago now? Like, it was supposed to be like a free-to-play future dungeon experience thing.
You go to a modern city and you leave it and stuff. It was really weird, but interesting. Yeah.
Oh, but it reminded me of Dragon's Dogma, which was like Capcom's IP. So it's like it was almost like that series continuing, and that's the vibe I'm getting here. Like this game certainly feels like Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma, and Dark Souls all together. And in a funny way, like Dragon's Dogma was almost already the Dark Souls of Monster Hunter, like those two combined.
The Dark Souls
with a little bit of Shadow of the Colossus, because you could cling on to things as they flew off and whatnot. But from what I've seen, it looks really good, because Monster Hunter, as much as it's so popular, especially right now in Monster Hunter World, for whatever reason, I can never get into. No matter, I thought I could with the re-release, not re-release, but new version on the consoles. I thought maybe it was a portable thing, but I just still couldn't get into the loop of going to hunt a monster, get its gear, come back and upgrade your gear, and that was like what the game hook was. It just, for whatever reason, couldn't grab me. I'm such a story junkie that I needed that. And we didn't see much, and the fact it's got a project means the timeline could be so far away. But I just got a feeling that it was going to be more story-focused. Like, the way, especially how they end it, where it's like he's fighting this big dog dragon type thing.
Dragon dogs, ma.
Yeah, that's very true. It could have been a hint itself. Maybe it is a Dragon's Dogma Titan. But, it's crashing around. And then it ends, he beats it, and then it shows these, like, big, giant figures in this mist that reeks of Dark Souls. Like, it's got that kind of, like, alluring, cryptic, like, gothic, godlike appearance that has me very intrigued. Definitely. I'm cautiously excited, because Cygames hasn't had much experience in a AAA level, at least on this single bit budget. Yeah, certainly scale, but just what I saw, I'm like, this looks good. All frame rates very strong. Everything looked like it moved impressively, very much like Monster Hunter World. Like this, how this dog thing gets around. It looks solid, very good.
When these smaller game developers go, just like you're always a bit like skeptical of, can they do it? Can they actually make this work? But from what we've seen here in this trailer, it looks really good. Which, it does definitely have that deep down like vibe to it, with the kind of high budget that it actually looks. It looks like it's got a good budget. But yeah, Project Awakening looks pretty good. I'm excited to see more of it when it comes around. And we're going to move to something that I think excites Russell more than Jordan and I, because we've had a couple bits of Kingdom Hearts news. Russell, what have we seen?
That is an interesting question, because I don't know if we saw that much new. I think the online community is getting a lot crazier a moment about the Shion little tiny reveal, which means nothing to you or Jordan. But Kingdom Hearts community are going nuts about it. But they showed off Big Hero 6, which I definitely believe you've seen the movie. At least one of you would have.
Yeah, I've seen it. Jordan, you seen it?
Oh, I've definitely seen it. It is.
Yeah, to me, it's like that is the Marvel stuff. Like, you're not going to get I don't believe you're going to get like Iron Man, Spiderman, that kind of stuff. But I do believe the Big Hero 6 is that kind of that filler for that. You're getting that superhero feeling with Big Hero 6, and that showing it off. It looked really good. Like, everything looks in this game. Like, every single world they show, it feels so distinctly different and massive. Like, I don't know how big this game's gonna be. I think they've been quoting like 40 hours and stuff. But these individual worlds seem like self-contained games almost.
And it looks like they really capture the what the movies are. Like, I think going back to what you're saying about Spider-Man and Marvel stuff, they can't exactly nail real life, but all these animated ones, they're doing it perfectly.
They can nail the movies.
And they did a good job with Pirates of the Caribbean. We saw at E3. Like,
that's true.
Itself was super impressive for real life actors. Like, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But Big Hero 6, what they showed us, which was very limited, because Tetsuya Nomura said there should be a full-length trailer dropping next week, which I'm sure we'll talk about as well. But just the world itself. But what they didn't show, which I highly suspect will be in part of Big Hero 6 world, because every world has its own little gimmick right now, is flying. I very much strongly feel that you will fly around on Baymax's back to get around that city.
Please.
They show shots of him like on top of skyscrapers. I'm like, unless you will run up there, how are you getting up to that top of that building?
Yeah, that's
Use
true.
those nano robot thingies from the movie.
I have a feeling that's probably the villain, or maybe not. They might do, like, I think Evil Baymax was shown in the original promotional art so long ago.
Not evil Baymax. As long as you can fist bump Baymax like he does in the movie, I'll be happy. I'll be so happy. That's all I need.
Yeah, but expect more, considering when we release this episode, probably maybe just after this podcast has gone up.
Yeah.
But the other thing they showed, which was more interesting or weird, was they announced Kingdom Hearts VR.
VR.
Which in itself is an interesting thing to decide to do off the bat, but there's so many other reasons why it's kind of weird. One, it's not retelling, but it seems like it's re-showcasing all of the stories of all the other games. Like, they show every single numbered title, not even numbered title, every single side project too, like the Birth by Sleep, those ones as well. And then it shows you in the VR world with a Keyblade, like, attacking Heartless, and it shows cutscenes from those games in the background. So my understanding of what this thing is basically like, you get to swing around the Keyblade, sure, fun, and you're experiencing significant moments from each of the games that probably ties into Kingdom Hearts 3 in some way.
Being someone that hasn't played Kingdom Hearts, looking at when I was watching that Kingdom Hearts,
Kingdom
Hearts,
Hearts.
When I was looking at that, I was like, damn, there is really a lot of games between 1, 2, and 3. They're only just
a lot of confusing titles.
I mean, they're only making it worse with the collections like HD Remix Redo 3.3.
2.2,
yeah, and of course there'll be a
2.5.
complete bundle that'll have the whole lot, which is the one they probably want if you don't have it.
And it will have some bizarre tagline. Just you wait.
It certainly had, just seeing it like, it doesn't look that polished, but it's also free, so I can't really complain in that respect.
Yeah, you can't really complain about free things because, you know, they have to pay for it, which is always good.
But you can still judge it.
Yeah, you can still judge it because our eyes are judging something even further because there was something teased from the Yakuza team a little while ago that it would be announced this month. And, well, we've seen it. It's called Judge Eyes or Project Judge over here, but to me it looks like Yakuza. In fact, I think it's set in the same city as the Yakuza series, except I think you're playing a lawyer. But before we get into any of that, I want to talk about this trailer because this trailer was funny as shit because they had someone voicing over it as it happened.
So this is a request to have Mr. Yagami as a client, and the request is by Shinpei Okubo. It's the one he acquitted. Yes, he was arrested with murder. But that case is the one that I used to do.
To me, I still don't know what the game is because it was just so distracting and funny at the same time that it was meant to be all serious with like people dying or court cases or people to tell people to shut up on the phone, and it's just the voice of it just didn't match. It was.
It wasn't clearly explained, but basically the translator for the PlayStation lineup was translating the trailer
on the
live.
fly.
On the fly, that was an emotionally centric trailer where it's like basically this lawyer gets off this criminal. It's not clear what he did, but then immediately he kills his wife, and basically at that point he becomes kicked out of being a lawyer, and he's gone rogue, and he's got to, I guess, solve what the mystery is.
Yeah.
It's not clear if it's
if
it's perhaps possession or something. Like I'm not sure how far they're going here. Is this merely lack of judgment, or is there some kind of paranormal effect going on here?
Doesn't he use like magic in combat and stuff?
Well, I mean that's just Yakuza's normal stuff, where it's like it's like so over the top like abilities, where it's like the combat I should describe as like it is Yakuza to the T.
Exactly, Yakuza.
I'm pretty confident this is exactly the same engine Yakuza was running on. The combat is very much like super over the top effects, chucking people through windows, using all these kind of crazy things. But for starters, that in itself should be for a lot of people a good thing. That it's like, oh, Yakuza, sweet, I love those games. Now, you and me, Mitchell, at least, certainly I think it's been always on our radar, but none of us have really jumped in because it seems like it's a.
I've bought Yakuza 0. It's installed. I'm just waiting to play it, but. Like, just looking at this game, it's just like, looks like Yakuza. And like, they were teasing something. I don't know if they ever said it was going to be different, but it's very, like, traditional. Like, okay, it's Yakuza with a bit of a twist where you're not in the Yakuza, you're someone who was in law and now is on the run, but still believes in the law.
Yeah, and it's just the aspect of, like, Yakuza was always, for me, like, hard to work out when to jump on. Because they keep releasing new ones at such a frequent level, especially with like Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, all this kind of stuff, 0. It's like, it is confusing to an outsider. And I think, even though they are selling well now, which is great for that franchise, I've always felt like it was difficult for me to decide when I should jump on it. But this game, because it's a brand new IP, and it's got the engine, it's got the talent being from the Yakuza series. I'm super excited for it because those games, Yakuza, many people talk about them very fondly, and I just feel like I missed the ball. And Judge Eyes, or Project Judge, or whatever it is, it's supposed to come out at the end of the year in Japan.
Judge.
Whatever, some point next year for us. I feel like it's going to be a good way for me to jump on the Yakuza bandwagon without actually having played Yakuza, and then maybe eventually it'll weed me into getting into that series, because I definitely want to, but
really
it's just
hope
so hard to pick.
When we actually get the game and you go to buy it, that they haven't just got the translator to translate the whole game and there is actually subtitles.
I dream of that being an option for the whole game.
Just turn it on the whole time.
Yeah, definitely when they released it, officially online, watching it without the translator.
It's essentially what Siri would say if you were trying to translate.
Hey Siri, no, don't come back on this podcast. You've been on one episode enough. Anyway, so yeah, the game looks like Yakuza. I'm interested to see when it comes out, if it's called, what's it called here? Because I don't think they're going to call it Judge Eyes in the West, because it sounds a bit silly. Yakuza sounds cool. Like, we all know who the Yakuza are, so before we end this PlayStation lineup tour, I want to talk about a game we've spoken about a lot. We keep speaking about it because it's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. We saw a little trailer that showed off some new gameplay, sort of. Mainly bosses, which is good to see, because last time we spoke about it, we were curious how the boss fights worked, and now we kind of see more of what they are.
I mean, yeah, there's just more showcase of, like, the gameplay, and the bosses, for me at least, I think for most people, are the best part of any of the From Software games. Like, that is the driving point. You want to get to the next boss to experience what they are on a visual level and on a gameplay level. And from what we've seen right now, they seem different in terms of the mechanics, because they've been talking about how, like, the parry, like, one-hit kill move seems like a big part of this game, and the bosses seem like they tied to that too, because there's, like, this weird, creepy, like, Spirit Walker one where he looks like he stabs it in the head, and I wonder if that's how this game's going to work, where it's like, it's very much like you cannot make contact for most of the fight. There's no health meter, but you have to keep parrying until eventually you get that break, and then just basically like a one-shot kill, and maybe they transform into a second form, and you got to kill the second form in one hit as well. I wonder if that's how it's going to work, because I have a feeling that's maybe how it is going to go down.
Yeah, that'd be a fascinating way to do it, and seeing all these bosses now, like, this game looks really, like, if I've played all the Souls games, and this game looks pretty daunting with how all these bosses look, because they look like, you think Bloodborne's aggressive, wait till you look at Sekiro, and that's like, no, this is what aggression looks like. This is what bosses that are going hard. They're trying to kill you as quick as possible, and it really shows throughout these gameplay trailers.
Essentially, a Souls game isn't a Souls game without good bosses. It looks as though there's going to be a lot of pretty intense one-on-one, like, man-on-man action, but then you've got, like, crazy things like a giant snake or a big giant, like,
monkey.
Frost giant thingy or something.
Oh, like
I think it's a baboon. I think it's supposed to be a baboon.
Yep, so it's, looks like it has quite a bit of variety.
Looks like a big monkey, yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be full-on intense, I would imagine.
And I love how they have animations for the bosses, where most of Dark Souls and Bloodborne, if not pretty much all of them, they don't really have moves most of the time that directly impact you on a physics level. Where it's like they don't pick you up and do something. I mean, some of them do.
Some of them definitely do.
Yeah, but a lot of the times it's like they attack and it's just purely dodging them. From what I can see of all these bosses so far, they all seem to have a greatly impactful move where it's like they chuck you or toss you around the room, or that the monkey thing looks like he grabs him and like does a flip and smashes him in the ground.
Yeah,
like it just looks like more's going on.
You can definitely see they're playing with like all this new movement they never had before. So
exactly, yeah.
To see them try these new fights, like some of these look so fast, it's ridiculous, and I'm curious how this impacts future FromSoft games, because every one of their games has influenced another. Like Bloodborne to Dark Souls 3, there's Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. You can just feel it in some of the weapons and the speed. They've gone like, okay, we've liked this direction, but we want to type more into Dark Souls, and they kind of combined them. So I'm kind of interested to see what Sekiro does for FromSoft in the future.
Well, with the Dark Souls series, they've pretty much hit a point where it's either you hold a shield, you're going to dodge, or it's like attack. And then there's not really much to it. Bloodborne, they try to increase it by picking up the pace, and this they're taking it the next notch with your grappling hook or your other stuff. It just depends on how much you can fly around bosses in boss rooms, or are they even in boss rooms? We don't know. You could go back into the other parts of the world because we haven't seen any fog doors or anything like that. So.
No, we haven't seen any fog doors, which was a big point I made last time.
And other than the only thing that concerns me, even the slightest, is the fact that Activision is publishing this, and it's like, what may they do to this game? I don't know, but everything I'm seeing hasn't got me worried on a gameplay sense. I'm like, yes, they're changing the formula, they're making something new. Some people won't be happy because like, why is it not Dark Souls? Why is it not Bloodborne? I'm like, I don't want that. I want something brand new. I want From Software to try something. I want to learn new mechanics. I don't want to just like mimic everything I've played before. So, and I'm seeing that everything I see.
On the plus side, it's not EA. Activision have been good in the past.
Activision, Jordan, Activision are like, you think EA got caught? Activision never gets caught. They just like Destiny 2.
I'm pretty sure they got caught with Tony Pro Skater 5.
Tony Hawk's.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Yeah, that was like the last big debacle.
And then there's Destiny 2. Like, Activision has all these dramas. So like, I don't think I would rule out Activision from only doing good things. Activision has proven time and time again that they are just as money hungry, if not more so, than EA.
So I hope there's not some kind of live bullshit where it's like they charge you for lies or something. I'm hoping it's purely like what EA's done with their indie games, with Way Out and that.
I'd imagine it's From Software wouldn't dare risk doing something like that to their games. Sort of they have a pretty set formula on how they do stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of sad that we have to have this conversation of like trust and the publisher they've gone with, because like before, like we never ever questioned Bandai Namco, but the moment they go over the West, I'm like, yeah, we're a bunch of capitalists. What are they going to do with it? And it's just like, how much money can we make? And
it just throws up a couple of red flags. So I'm just optimistic that they won't have any influence on the game, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. But I think FromSoft probably wouldn't have made that decision, as Jordan was saying, if that was any involvement. I think, it definitely helped getting funding. But you just wonder what went with that. What did they sign away to the devil?
Yeah, exactly.
But we won't know until we get it, and we're getting it pretty soon. And we're probably going to have to discuss this again because, every Sekiro, something new.
My hopes is the big things is just going to be DLCs. Lots of DLCs, but decent DLCs.
It's Activision. You can guarantee there'll be DLC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically the PlayStation lineup tour. We haven't even hit Tokyo Game Show yet, but we've seen all of this, so I'm excited to see what more we get out of the show. But yeah, so moving away from that, we've got another Japanese event because Nintendo, which just had a recent Nintendo Direct, which previously was delayed by an earthquake, but now we've seen it. We opened up with a bit of a surprise, and this time Luigi wasn't murdered, but Luigi is back, maybe a body double, we don't know, to another mansion which has ghosts, because Luigi's Mansion 3 got announced.
It's interesting because it doesn't look like it is a mansion, it looks like it's a hotel.
Hotel mansion, it could be a hotel mansion.
Which, it's cool. It's great to see Luigi's Mansion looking so much better. Like, especially when they, was Luigi Mansion 2 they were showing off in the same Direct for the 3DS?
No, that was Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, it was the original one, okay. So it's like how bad that one looked on the 3DS is like on a visual level compared to this new one. And
I think the worst thing with that one is they brought it in co-op, which is really good, but they made your co-op friends so green that if you had a green screen, you couldn't see them.
And the frame rate looked like it tanked when that second character showed up on the 3DS.
I mean, look, it's a 3DS. Like, they should be focusing on the brilliant console that is the Switch, not that little thing that should just die already.
Sadly, they only showed about 5 minutes of 3DS games.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
To the Switch.
I mean, sure, it's selling a lot of consoles. They've sold shitloads of them. But, I think we've said it before, and we'll say it again, that we would much prefer if the Switch was their only focus. But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am just glad that we are at least seeing parity where it's like, okay, you've got the 3DS one, but here's a brand new one for the Switch console. And I'm glad that's happening at least. Even though they didn't show us much. It was kind of like, here's an announcement, here's about 30 seconds of footage of stuff you can imagine would be in a Luigi Mansion game.
Yeah, but Russell, look, at least it wasn't the Metroid Prime 4 situation where we got more than a logo, which is enough for me, and yeah.
Well, they did mention they're going to show stuff at a future date, so
they say that a lot.
That's basically that's common for almost everything. We'll show it later.
We'll show it later, but it's good that a GameCube series is getting the love it deserves, and I'm just hoping his brother, when he went on his little holiday where he got imprisoned and got stuck with Flood,
You just
gets
really
another
want some
chance.
sun shining in, don't you?
I do, and a lot of people don't like Sunshine because they're wrong. But I just want that. And Luigi's Mansion, yeah, cool. I didn't play the GameCube version, but look, I'll definitely get this because, hey, it's on the Switch. So, Jordan, is it going to get you
Well,
to
it
get
comes
the
out
Switch?
next year, so I'd imagine I have a Switch by then.
Will you play it on the Switch? Will you play it
I
on the
would have to play
Switch?
the first ones, but most likely it looks interesting.
Good luck playing the first one. Good luck
You don't
playing
need to
the
play
first
the
one.
first one.
It's
I mean,
Luigi in a
Luigi
mansion.
I
He's
gotta
got
pay
some
attention
ghosts.
to the story, right? He might be.
He ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Well, he actually is very afraid of
He's
ghosts.
very
That's the whole
afraid of
gimmick.
ghosts. But why does he keep
I mean-
going into mansions with ghosts?
Why would you pick a job that you don't like? But then again, Mario is a plumber and he never plumbs.
I've never seen him do... Never plums. Never does plumbing.
He never plumbs.
He just never plums. You know, Yoshi's never plumbed either because he's busy in his now crafted world because that Yoshi game has a name and, you know, it's about as uninspired as New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
I mean, they could have gone with Trash World, but they've had wool, paper.
Paper Yoshi? They've had Paper Mario.
They've also had a Paper Yoshi World.
No, they haven't. They've had a Yarn World.
Oh, Yarn World.
He's still Yarn in this though. Like it is Yarn Yoshi.
Yeah, true.
In
I wish
a
he was made out of
paper
trash.
craft world.
I mean, cardboard, not trash. I mean, it looks like trash. But yeah, the appearance of the game. The game could be trash.
I mean, Yoshi is Yoshi. Like the games
Blah.
have never really changed that much. Like even this is like that's basically Yoshi's story. Yoshi's story was like a pop-up book, and now it's arts and craft. Like it's so similar each time, at least on the gameplay level. Like you fly around as Yoshi, he's cutesy. It's got all the music. He does this
He licks
throwing
things.
hat. Like it's got all that stuff going on. The only unique thing I really saw other than the arts and craft was like, oh look, you can go to the right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
left
can
now.
turn the whole
Yeah.
world backwards, so you can see all the back of the stuff.
That's-
So, it's like this is all the stuff we've just like pushed away. Well, now you can see it right up front and center.
And Jordan's just hit his mic and it nearly fell off the tissue box that's holding it up.
Which is arts and crafty in itself, so it all ties
No,
together in a very
I
Yoshi
know, like this
vibe.
podcast, we're deep. We think we're ahead of the times, and we're ahead of the cardboard and the crafted world. So, are any of us gonna get this game?
Look, I'm just expecting a Labo tie-in at some point. I'm just waiting for the Yoshi Labo experience, and they haven't dropped it on me yet.
It is surprising that they didn't drop it with Yoshi. They dropped it with Mega Man, working with that new game coming out, but not Yoshi.
Amiibo, not Labo.
The Amiibo.
Labo's the,
Labo's the
card.
cardboard.
The Amiibo,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Mega Man cardboard. Gimme.
Yoshi cardboard, make it Yoshi, make it have a...
Make it Yoshi again. But yeah, so Yoshi's Crafted World coming out next year probably. I mean, it's looked finished in the past. I just assume it's even closer to finishing.
It is surprising how late it's coming out. Like, I think it should be sometime soon, but it's not.
Yeah. Like, you could have thought, like, maybe this year, like, I don't know, like, if there's room, go Smash Bros. And stuff. But, yeah, to move on from Yoshi's Crafted World, I want to talk about a port of a game I don't think we're really excited about because it's New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
They just keep adding more and more words to their titles. It just gets longer and longer. It's the same game, just with slightly few different things and an extra word.
They could have called it New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Mario Luigi U, minus the Mario. Like
Yeah,
they could
I guess
they
that's
could have
true.
gone that full name, but I think this is one of the weaker Wii U titles to port because I think there is a much better Mario game on that console called 3D World, which is better than this game ever was, in my opinion. And I think you agree with me, Russell.
Yeah, there's no question this was going to happen though. It's like you
yeah.
knew they were always going to re-release Super Mario, New Super Mario Brothers U or whatever.
Make sure you get that name right. Jesus.
Yeah, on the Switch, like you knew that was always going to happen because it's easy to do it. But the thing, I agree. I was never a fan of this game. In fact, I quite actively dislike it. But what surprises me more is the fact they're calling it Deluxe, right? But there's barely any additions to it.
At least they're not calling it Ultimate.
Well, I mean, they can't. Like, Deluxe is their, like, re-release, like, name. It's basically equivalent of remaster for Nintendo, Deluxe. Or re-release, I guess. So Nabbit and Toadette are basically the new additions, and Toadette can turn into Peach.
Yeah, raises a lot of questions. Is Peach a toad? Like,
I mean-
is that what she is?
At this point, they're trolling or confirmed.
Yeah, but
So-
I always thought she was some, like, her people came in, conquered them, and now they're like their slaves, and they build her castles and stuff. That's how I imagine
Maybe
it.
that's why she's always been kidnapped.
I was thinking it was like she basically set up a kingdom, and then she just like kind of grew these toads, and then they came into like beings, and then she just like, I'll just rule these people, I guess.
Yeah, as
Too
a
many
benevolent...
shrooms. Too many shrooms.
Yeah, she ate too many and somehow created a race of mushroom people. But yeah, is that enough additions to actually make it worth like the deluxe thing? Because
It's that thing where really Wii U games didn't sell well, so they have to re-release
console didn't.
all of them. Yeah, so it's just it will make more money than what that game would have made on the Wii U, or did make rather, and because of that, that's enough for them. And just deluxe, 1 or 2 editions. I mean, Tropical Freeze, they just added Funky Kong.
and
So
I guess the difference is they didn't even call it deluxe. It was just Donkey
Yeah.
Kong Tropical Freeze.
that's true. They took out the name, which made it feel maybe a little bit better. And because I love that game, that's a really good game. I don't like the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U or whatever.
Just you, no Wii U.
The
just you.
interesting thing with it though is they called it Deluxe, where Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has the same name, but it has so much more to give.
Yeah, I think, some deluxes are better than others, and I think Mario Kart was worth the effort because it's just like, Mario Kart is like, it is a system seller, so it's just like, well, we could spend years developing a new Mario Kart, release a couple years down the line, or we can effectively launch with it, kind of, and like, get it out there.
And they had very clear-cut things that people wanted. People wanted the battle mode, so it only made sense they would add that in, or fix it. It was in there, it just wasn't what
It
people wanted.
was, but it was just
Yeah.
a normal track, so you went around it. It was kind of weird, and then they re-added like what people actually wanted, not this new mode, because it seems Nintendo is actually listening a bit more now.
Yeah, and
A bit.
at this point, really, with the new Super Mario Brothers U or whatever, all they're really
It's
missing
called the
now.
NSM Bud, okay? The
Yeah.
NSM.
All they're really missing now is Mario Maker, which is like the big one where it's like, where is that game? How are they going to release it on the Switch, and what form is it going to take? And I said 3D World. I think that's really the 2 kings left that they haven't re-released from the Wii U list.
I mean, I like the Wind Waker and the Twilight Princess ones, but they're not exactly from that console.
Yeah, I mean, they probably will do those too, but from that console, I think Mario Maker is like literally the pinnacle. It's like,
Yeah,
where
it's-
is that game? Why have they not
'cause
released it yet?
you put Mario Maker on there, it's just like, people will buy it for that. And, I mean, it's kind of, like, you should make it, like, do they make a sequel, or do they just make a follow, like, a redo? Because I think a sequel, they could do a lot more and add a lot more new things after seeing, like, how much more people added to it.
I absolutely 100% think it'll be the deluxe name again, and they will add a lot more than what this game has got added to it. It will be more expansive, yeah, because you just added more level designs, more tools. Like, I think it had so much already in there from the get go that it's hard to even think of what they could
It's
add. but I'm
crazy
sure
what
there's
some
heaps of
people
Mario
are able to
things they're
make.
missing.
With just what was there.
Yeah, it's true. I love it when you, like, see what the community does, like, with a Mario Maker, you knew it was going to be nuts, and it just seems like such a silly decision that they didn't get that one
And
out ahead of time than all of these other ones.
And also, how awesome it is on just a detethered level. You deconnect yourself from the console, go on a train, and start building a Mario stage. Like, that already seems like promotional material done. Like, every time they always show
Easy.
these people with the thing, put them on a train, put them on a plane, put them on the house party, whatever the hell they do half
Put
the
him
time.
on a bus. It's like sounded like you're doing like a Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah,
put him on a
and
train, put him on a plane.
Yeah, they always love those stock young kids at random locations just playing this ridiculously small screen with ridiculously small Joy-Cons, and all you need is that. They're making that stage on a trip or whatever. It's a no-brainer. It makes you think how much more they're adding to it. Like, Nintendo must be working on this. They must be.
They must be, and it's like, is it going to be an everyone is here like Super Smash Bros? Because like Super Mario Maker, that'd be great, but at least you've got Super Smash Bros, which we can take anywhere, and the kids can play it on a train, they can play it on a bus, they can play it on a plane, they can play it under a drain. They can play it wherever they like. So we've had a couple Animal Crossing news because Isabelle, an Animal Crossing character, is joining Smash Bros as either a character or an Echo Fighter. I'm totally unconvinced. Where do we stand on
I'm
Echo
fairly
Fighter?
sure it looks like it's a regular character. Otherwise, they would have told you it was an Echo Fighter.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that statement. It's like they probably would have called you an Echo, but even then, like, it absolutely looks like an Echo to me. Like how she trips, how she plants things in the ground, like everything looks like the Animal Crossing character.
Yeah,
But
Villager.
the biggest question is, what is an Echo Fighter 2?
What?
Wait, what?
If it's an Echo Fighter, what is it Echo fighting?
It's an
What?
Echo Fighter of the Villager, which is a...
Oh,
Yeah.
the villager. That makes sense.
Yeah, I just...
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's like, what
You're
the hell
saying-
is he going on about
the
now?
way you phrased it was so confusing.
Is
But
he
yeah,
a
it's-
sequel Echo Fighter? Number 2.
Yeah, I thought that's what you mean. It's like it's a second Eco Fighter. I'm like, you mean kind of like how they were
No,
doing it for
it's
Fire
like
Emblems?
which
Yeah.
Echo Fighter is this of?
No, it would be the Villager. Absolutely,
It'd be
Like,
Villager, yeah.
It looks like the Villager aspect, but it's different. It's always weird on a level like how like Roy I think isn't an Echo Fighter of like Ike and stuff and Marth, even though it felt like he was. I
I
think they're calling
mean,
him a
Roy's
separate
is
character.
fire. Come on.
Doesn't Villager already have like multiple Echoes already?
Yep.
I
Well,
don't know if
skins.
I think they're calling them
them
skins.
Echoes.
Yeah, I didn't call them Echoes either. But it's weird how what they're clarifying is an Echo and what they're not clarifying Echo.
It's
they're a
kinda
character-
weird.
Like Dr. Mario, I think is also not an Echo Fighter, but I'm like, yeah, he is an Echo Fighter, Mario, isn't he?
He is, doesn't he? The only thing he does is throw pills.
Yeah, it's weird. That it's
I mean,
Sakurai's
he's just
got weird
handing out
definitions.
medication to everyone. No prescriptions needed.
Yeah, it's our healthcare system, I guess.
But to speak of the reveal, because I think I was a little bit disappointed actually with the reveal, especially with how awesome the last ones were. It just, I don't know, it felt almost trolly because they're basically like, oh, it's a new Animal Crossing game.
Same thing, right?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. New Animal Crossing game, and then it's like, oh no, it's actually Isabelle's joining the thing. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But I'm like, you don't have like a really big CGI cutscene thing that all the other characters got. It just felt
Yeah.
like small scale.
I honestly just felt it was just really drawn out for no real reason.
I think
yeah,
it
that's
was
true too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because they're announcing the Animal Crossing game. Otherwise, I think another Mario character would have been murdered live on screen by like Tom Nook or like Isabelle. Like that's what I'm expecting from every
They've got
proper
to be
Smash CGI
extreme.
one.
I would have done like Tom Nook like goes to Mario's house or something, and it's like, oh, I foreclosed on the house, you got to leave or something. Like, and
You're
that
out,
would
buddy. Oh, Peach's
something-
Castle. They've been
Yeah, just something
evicted.
funnier that like also feels like Animal Crossing at the same time. But it was more small scale, but I think that made it feel like it was less exciting. And then to move on to like the Animal Crossing reveal, like that same thing. It just felt like it wasn't that impressive. Like, okay, Animal Crossing's coming. I guess some people are gonna be excited, but I don't really care. And you didn't excite me with this announcement. It was pretty.
It was
boring.
just him basically at a computer. Oh, the power's gone off. I better turn my light on. Oh, there's a game coming out. Oh, I better tell them.
basically.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. Yeah.
I mean, Animal Crossing Portable, like, there's not a better place for a game like that. So, it's good for the fans of that game. Haven't exactly played Animal Crossing. Don't know if it's my cup of tea or anything, but, I think the Switch is a good place for it.
It's a good vibe, and I know people have been waiting for an Animal Crossing on Switch. Like, people have been looking forward to it. I just feel like they probably let those people down with how it was revealed. It just felt so casual. It's like, oh,
I
here's
guess
an Animal
I would
Crossing.
call it lackluster, like,
Yeah.
like, it could have been, like, they could have made it a thing. It's just, like, they didn't really make anything of it. It was just like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it-
Animal Crossing. You guys know what you want.
Because it's funny, like, you spin on, like, Metroid Prime 4 with, like, the announcements they had was technically nothing, but it still felt epic. Like, they built up the 4 logo, like, fading from the mist. It's like, it was so easy, like, on a conceptual level, but it was so much more anticipation and like, an exciting announcement. But it just felt like, oh, hi, I just watched that trailer you just watched that wasn't that exciting, and now I'm going to announce Animal Crossing coming to Switch. It's like, okay.
And it's sort of weird because I reckon that was the game. They've actually shown off what that game looks like. Whereas Metroid Prime, they showed nothing. And just like, one of them was more exciting than the other. And the more exciting one was a logo.
Yeah, it was the logo. Literally, it was the
I
logo.
mean, if
but they
the
just did it
logo's
with no
that
anticipation.
good, imagine how good the game's gonna be.
Oh yeah. Like, if Animal Crossing's anything like that introduction, well... well, yeah, but, Animal Crossing, portable, that's cool. But to talk about kind of a big chunk of games being announced, because I'm sure
Massive
Russell's pretty
chunk.
excited about this, because Final Fantasy has had, like, how many announcements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game announcements,
It's
all on the same direct, like...
It's
Dude.
it's the daisy chain effect was nuts. So it's like, oh shit, you've got this Final Fantasy too. Oh, and this one,
Yeah.
and this one, and this one, and this one. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, so you've got World of Final Fantasy. What's the thing? Like,
Maxima, I think was the
yeah, World
subtitle.
of Final Fantasy Maxima, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, which is kind of the retelling of Final Fantasy 15 that was released like almost a year ago at this point.
Yeah, for iPhone and stuff.
For
I mean,
iPhone,
it came out everywhere. Like
We did a
Sony
look
got
at on it
and-
back in the day, so like
back in the day. Yeah.
so you got that. You've got Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, and 10-2 HD, and Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age,
Yeah.
and Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition. So if you love Final Fantasy, your Switch has just come with a heap of them in the near future. and so is the Xbox.
And they're massive RPGs where it's like, that's the crazy thing, like how big they are. And that's the disappointing thing, because I didn't realize, when you see the Switch Direct, you go, oh my god, this is a precedent for Nintendo. They have not had any of these games, basically, on... Final Fantasy left Nintendo from the SNES to the PlayStation. They left them behind, and they almost never had any of them, other than, like, the Crystal Chronicles, like some of those smaller, non-numbered
spin-offs.
titles.
Yeah, they haven't had a mainline title.
But to suddenly get so many of them, back-to-back, was crazy. But then, as you said, they announced the fact Xbox is also getting them. It's like, it feels a little bit less special now. It's still cool, but slightly less special.
Yeah, it's sort of like, well, it's like really cool, and it's just like, well, I mean, it's good Xbox is getting it, but it's just like kind of ruins the...
It's essentially like they're at a board meeting for Final Fantasy. It's like, right, what do you want? We want that?
Yeah.
Can we have that? Maybe a bit of that? How about we just have it all?
Set 8, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Eight's the main one that has been missing, and all I can imagine is Square Enix is probably going to release 8, and they're whatever they call it, the remaster, where they basically added like fast mode, cheat codes.
But they have that. They've already done the Steam version. It's already out.
Well, we're still waiting for the Final Fantasy VII remake, so we could be waiting a while.
It didn't get the 7 or 9 treatment right, though. Like, it didn't get the...
It does, actually. It does have that stuff.
All the extra features, the speed up cheat codes.
I swear it does. You correct me if I'm wrong. But I swear it already does.
And they up-res it a bit to look better. But, I mean, if it does, then I guess we're just waiting for that to be released on the consoles. And at this point, it will come out on the Switch as well, and Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm also surprised Final Fantasy VI isn't coming with them, because they've already got that on the SNES. The SNES Mini, so I'm just like...
Yeah, the Mini, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just... Are we waiting for another time to put 6 on there? Or is the port they've got, like the port they've put on PC and all that, is that really inferior? Or are they just because... Or will they take the one from the SNES, rather?
Well, my hope would be that like they actually... Not remastering or remaking it to the level Jordan was saying with Final Fantasy VII, but... some kind of level of remaster, like they did with Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Like, that level of up-res, that updating the sprites to HD, all that kind of stuff. Not that 3D shitty design thing they did for quite a few of them, I believe including 6.
Yeah, and I would say keep away from that weird blur they put over pixels that, like, really makes it look ugly. Like, Chrono Trigger on Steam had that, and then they had to... People were so pissed that they had to patch it out, because, like, no one is really a big fan of that.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 1 and 2, I think they were just called that on the PSP, where they remade them, look so damn good. Like, completely up-res the sprites. It wasn't HD, because I guess it was on a portable console, but it looked really good on a PSP. So I would hope it would get a train, but that's just a hypothetical, like, what maybe they're doing with that game. But all this Final Fantasy stuff made me, like, think of, like, why is Smash... There are still only 2 tracks for Final Fantasy VII. Only 2.
I mean, the big question is, why not add more Final Fantasy characters?
That's true too. I mean, there's a lot of rumors going on there that there's like an Echo Fighter for all the DLC or like third-party characters. I don't know who the Echo Fighter for Cloud would be. I don't know if you just do another sword character or like a big sword. But I'm certainly disappointed right now that Final Fantasy is ridiculously underrepresented for its music, and how amazing that music is. And you're getting like 30 Castlevania tracks, 50 Super Mario tracks, and you're getting 2 Final Fantasy tracks. 2 from that game.
As long as they're good Final Fantasy tracks, Russell.
Well, that's true. They're both good, but you can only listen to the Final Fantasy VII battle music so many times. But that's not true. I love the battle music in that game.
Is that true?
That's 10.
That's DMC.
The 7's the... Yeah. But there's so much other good music, and I hope that Square Enix is doing some kind of deals with Nintendo that they'll go, you'll up that track. We'll up that track count.
You never know. They can always add just more songs to like a song DLC collection.
No one would pay for that. Yawning. No one would pay for that. Like, really.
What if it's like a free update? We've introduced more songs.
Well, then you don't have to pay for it, and everyone will get that.
That'd be good.
I mean, I don't see them doing that, but like, there's a lot of really good games here, because like they've picked a really good few, but with like 7, 9, 10, and 12 as the mainline ones. It's just it's a good one to start with, in my opinion. I've only finished 2 of those, but still, I think those games, like being 7 and 10, were definitely worth the port. I mean, 10 has already been portable on the Vita, but
Yeah.
it'll probably be, the Switch is more powerful than a Vita, so I'm curious.
And it's a big screen. And that's the best thing.
Big screen,
these games are massive. There's so much content to do, so much to experience, and the Switch should be more than capable of playing these games. Unlike some of the things we saw, like Civ 6 and stuff, that like looked like it was struggling.
Yeah, there's some games on the Switch that we've seen just they can't totally handle it, but all these are old games, and some of them are like weird retellings of games, and one's a Pokemon Final Fantasy thing, so it's just like look, that is a good place to Switch for all these games. Like, as far as where's 13? Everyone loves 13, right?
That's one they can't do. Like, they wouldn't be able to hack 13. That's basically the logistic. I think it would be a problem to get that to run on the Switch.
I don't know. I think the Switch is like that ran on a 360 and PS3, and I think the Switch is at least more powerful than both of those.
That's true, but I've seen a lot of games that struggle big time on the Switch that should be playable on the Switch. And it could be an optimization thing, but I still feel like 13 might be a problem.
Yeah, I think so too. But
especially file size.
But speaking of like the clouds coming to the Switch is also getting another form of cloud, because we've now seen what Nintendo Switch Online is, and I don't know, it's
pretty amazing.
It's interesting how they've made it so like I feel like I'm being talked down to by it's like being explained like this is what online is. You get cloud saves, you can play multiplayer, and it's $19.99 per year. It's just like, guys, we had this in the Xbox 360. Hell,
wasn't that
we had
per
this on the
month?
Xbox. Yeah, no, that's per year.
I'm pretty sure it was like $40 a year. $40.
No,
US.
you're
It's
right.
$20 a year, Jordan.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's really cheap per month, but that yearly one is kind of cheap. But I think for the most part, Nintendo were acting like we had no idea what paying for online is like, and we had to explain it to us in a very slow and like almost condescending way of like, this is Nintendo Online. And
it was definitely patronizing. Like it made you feel like, oh, you've never heard of online before? We'll explain it to you. I'm like, dude, we know what it is, and you're not doing it right.
No,
we've been getting it free for ages, and now you're gonna bring it in.
Yeah, what their tagline was: more games, more features, more fun. Like, I feel they're so patronizing. This thing is just like, even their tagline irritates me.
It's essentially more money.
More money, and I think the fact it's cheap is its only saving grace.
Yeah.
Because like what you're getting with it, like obviously you can play online, you get access to an NES games library, which like NES games have aged terribly for the most part.
Of them, yeah.
Do you need to purchase them though, or do you?
No,
just
I
get
think
them for
I think
free?
you get access to a library of them while you subscribe.
They didn't explain that well, but
That's
in
my
the past,
assumption.
I think they explained it something like I think it's like PlayStation Plus type thing where it's like you pay for it and you get it forever as long as you're subscribed. I can't remember if it was that, and if you unsubscribe, you still keep that game. But that feels like it's too good.
me,
so it's probably
It definitely looked different than when they were explaining it back then, because I do think you don't pay for these separately. I think you're subscribed and you have access to them. Like,
the interesting thing is they say they're going to continue to add more. Will they just stick with NES games, or will they do other games?
I better
like
not
SNES?
bloody stick with NES games, because like,
I think
me a game I care about.
Yeah, I think they said originally SNES games would come, but they're not there right now.
No, you would think like to kind of ease people into this, you go like open with a bang, not like open with like, well, there's NES games, and you can play online. You can use our phone app to talk.
The biggest downfall with it is if you've already been playing online, all of a sudden you just essentially cut out from it unless you start paying money. I mean, it's not a problem if you've been doing that from the beginning, but if you've been accustomed to that on this like platform, and then all of a sudden you hop on one day, it's like, sorry, you got to give us some money now. It's pretty jarring.
Yeah, but I do think that has happened already with like when PS Plus like started with the PS4. That like you actually have to pay to play online now. Just like
it's gonna absolutely have that like awkwardness for some people. It's like, I'm not gonna start paying for this. I'm just gonna stop playing Splatoon, which, if being honest, is probably the main game you're playing if you're paying for this online service.
or Mario Kart or Smash.
Yeah, and I'm pretty confident they said free-to-play games will not be part of the service. So, like, Fortnite, you can still play for free. You don't need to buy the...
and Warframe, which is coming out later this year.
That's
They're
right.
doing
Yeah,
that, which is good.
No, it makes sense, but like I think the only like real reason you are doing this is basically to play online in cloud saves, because
Cloud saves is that thing, where it's like, it just feels like they're holding it hostage. It's like, if you want to be upload your clouds to the save, you're paying us $20. Oh,
pay us money or you die. Save dies.
Pay us money, or if you accidentally run over your console. Tough.
Yeah,
luck.
that's the thing. Because they even play it like they know that it's a problem. Like, they're like, oh, Luigi's Switch just got crushed by the boombox thing or whatever. Now you've lost your save. I'm like, yeah, that's a problem. You should fix that. That shouldn't be charged.
Yeah, you should fix that. And the thing is, they're charging for it, and it's not available for every single game. Some games are exempt because, like, I don't think it's on Nintendo to do it. I think it's on the actual developers of the games to implement it.
I didn't realize that. So if the developer, Nintendo obviously will implement on their games. Are you saying the third parties, it's up to them if they do it?
Yeah, as far as I know, I read that Dark Souls Remastered won't, and some other titles won't. Don't quote me on that, but I remember reading that somewhere.
It speaks to what, like, all the concerns I already have, where it's like, they just feel so disconnected from things. Like, you have to talk to your friends via a mobile phone app. You can't use this device you have to do it. It just feels like so backwards and, like, disconnected, and, like, they're not really prepared. It wasn't prepared to do it. It was
it's
like, just doing
surprising
this
that they didn't take the chance to bring out more, like, gaming headsets for the console.
Well, they did. They had a really weird adapter.
A very weird one. It looked like a goddamn, like, you had to split the audio, whatever the hell was going on.
Yeah, it looks so stupid, but
yeah.
I guess there's one other thing about this online is that you get access to exclusive special offers and exclusive products, because they revealed there's two Nest controllers coming out that attach like Joy-Cons. It looks pretty bizarre, but those are exclusive to people who have this membership, as well as, like, there's an exclusive Splatoon 2 in-game gear if you're a 12-month subscriber. So it's just like, what more are they going to add?
They're exclusive. You exclusively given the option to buy them. That is what they're telling you.
That's our gift to you.
Yeah, it's not a gift. It's a gift of the choice to buy them. That is our gift. After you've already paid us, it's like, for that thing. It's so weird,
The one interesting thing with that is, what if, like, retail stores for some reason started selling them? Would it just make it redundant?
I don't think Nintendo would let them if this is the way they're going to do it.
They won't get them. The only way you're going to get them is through eBay on Nintendo, is my gut,
Yeah, which, I don't know why they didn't just release these.
Yeah, speaking of, I'm like, it's kind of cool. Like, they're expensive. Like, it's like $60, which is probably like $90.
$900. What the shit is that currency?
It looks pretty odd on the Switch, having them slightly bigger than the screen.
Yeah,
you think you would have had it, like, more evenly balanced, so instead of it having a big gap at the top.
Yeah, but it speaks to my biggest concern for those things, and I'm pretty confident this is the case because they didn't allude to anything else. It is only usable for the NES games you're getting with the online service. I'm pretty sure.
Which is why I think it's a NES games library, which is where that thinking comes from. Because
True.
Maybe later on they'll give you access to buy the SNES console. Switch
Probably.
controllers.
Yeah, that's my gut feeling is they will. They'll do the SNES as a big announcement at E3 next year or something. Like, look at this. Look at the gift we're giving you. Games you could have bought multiple times and probably already bought with the SNES Mini or whatever. And they'll release that SNES Mini controllers for the Joy-Cons. And lo and behold, you're entitled to buy it because you're paying for this online service.
Lucky you, old customer.
Yeah.
Oh, Nintendo, it's so
the
generous.
best bargain ever.
I know, and like, we knew it was coming. It's kind of been this whole screw up since day one of like, when's online coming? We're not excited for it. We just want to get that like hard, irritating thing out of the way and just like, yeah, okay, we've got online now. We have to deal with it like all the other consoles. So
and it's even all the problems that are associated with it is like, it is cheap, which I guess is the main perk. It's like, it's not that expensive.
No, it's alright.
Compared to Xbox and PlayStation, it's half the price, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and for me at least, just on a personal level, it's like, I don't play online games on the Switch. I have zero interest in ever doing that. So it's basically like, I'm not paying for this. I won't buy this. There's no reason to. I'm just going to keep playing my games that I'm getting, the single player games or Nintendo or whatever, and play them. And the indie games. I don't need the online.
You don't need it. And yeah, look, some people won't need online, others will if they want to play these games. I'm still curious about the servers and how they'll go and if they're worth it. But like, that's a question for another time when this actually launches reasonably soon.
18th, right?
18th or the 20th. I think it's the 18th. So
only
next
a few
week.
days away.
Next week. So yeah, get excited for that, guys. But yeah, we'll be back in a moment to end this whole little show. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Gaming Booth Show. I've been Mitch. Joining me has been Jordan and
I am
Russell.
Jordan, saying goodbye.
You have interrupted me partway through that. Thanks for coming, Russell.
No problem, Mitchell. I've been here.
Happy to have you for another episode, being episode 11. And so if you enjoyed this, you can find this on SoundCloud, YouTube, if you're watching it right now. Either way, you can find us there. You can find us at optionalextra.net, which is our website, which has been mostly finished. It's mostly usable, and I'm pretty proud of it. You can find more of our stuff there, including more about the multiverse adventures, because we've got a whole page dedicated to what goes on in the multiverse. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, you can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on whatever that thing you want to do is, or whatever the podcast service lets you do. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see you again, and goodbye.
Okubo stabbed his girlfriend and then put fire at the gas station. No, that can't be it. Oh my god.